All right, welcome back, everyone. Today we're doing a deep dive on 30 days to sell cars.
Yeah, this is a program that really helps dealerships, kind of dominate their market.
Totally. We're talking like a day-by-day playbook here.
Day-by-day playbook, yeah. To really get those vehicle shoppers, to...
And ultimately sell more cars.
Yes, sell more cars.
So what I found really interesting is like how this program, it's not just like, some fluffy marketing stuff.
Right. It's very structured. It's it's almost like a surgical approach to reaching those sales goals.
Yeah, it's like they give you the treasure map.
Exactly.
To get to that pot of gold.
Yeah, and the beauty is it's designed to work within the natural rhythm of the dealership, right? Yeah. So it follows the monthly sales cycle, and it's a 5-phase program. 5
phases. Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me. What's phase 1?
So that first week is fundamentals and preparation. And so it's really like laying that groundwork for everything that follows. So you're going to be mapping out incentives. You're going to be segmenting your audience. You're even going to be like crafting your first YouTube ad script all within that first week.
Wow. So it's like hitting the ground running.
Absolutely.
Day 3 YouTube ad script. That's pretty intense.
It is. But don't worry, it's not like they're just throwing you to the wolves. Right? The program provides a lot of prompts and examples, even suggesting, using those AI tools like ChatGPT to really help you streamline the process.
So they give you like the tools and the guidance to make it happen. Okay, so you're not just thrown into the deep end.
Right.
Okay, now one thing I saw in here is they kept mentioning these AI text agents. What are those?
So AI text agents, you can think of them as like your tireless digital assistants. And they can handle various tasks. Yep. From like drafting a really compelling ad copy to automating those personalized follow-ups with your prospects.
So it's like they're working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. So they're freeing up your team's time to do what's really important, building those relationships and closing those deals.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the groundwork. What about week 2? What happens then?
So week 2 is all about lead generation and engagement. So that's when your YouTube ad campaign is going to go live. You're driving traffic to special events. And of course, those AI text agents are working behind the scenes to make sure that every lead is nurtured and those appointment books are filling up.
Okay, so you're generating the buzz and then making sure people actually show up.
Precisely. And this is also the phase where they really, really stress capturing customer testimonials.
Okay, because that's like word of mouth marketing. There's nothing better than that.
You're absolutely right. Nothing beats, authentic, real experiences from actual customers. And the program provides, scripts and examples to make that whole process really simple.
Okay, so it seems like they give you, again, the tools.
It's the tools, yeah.
So not just the concept. Okay, so week 3, where do we go from there?
All right, so week 3 is push for scale. Now that your campaign's up and running, you're going to be fine-tuning those YouTube ads, targeting people within driving distance of your dealership, so really maximizing impact and capturing those last-minute buyers.
This is your focus.
Exactly. And you'll also be diving deeper into your CRM data, identifying those high-potential leads and prioritizing those follow-ups.
Oh, so it's like a surgeon going in. Okay, I like it. Now, week 4.
Okay, week 4 is streamline and expand. So this is where you're going to take a step back and assess what's working, refining your approach. And so you're going to identify tasks that can be automated, potentially utilizing those AI text agents even more. And you're also going to figure out how to repurpose your top performing content.
So work smarter, not harder.
Precisely.
Okay. And then we get to the final stretch.
Yes.
The last few days of the month.
Month-end blitz. This is where we pull out all the stops, create that sense of urgency to close those deals.
Okay, here's where it gets good. What are we talking? Tactics.
Yeah. So thing like, final chance, email blasts, special events, and most importantly, those personalized one-on-one follow-ups with any remaining leads.
So leaving no stone unturned. Okay, I can see why they call it 30 days to sell cars now.
Right.
Because it really does take you through the whole month.
Absolutely. And even after the 30 days are up, there's the epilogue phase, which is all about reflection and preparation for the next cycle.
Tell me about this epilogue phase. Why is it so important?
So, continuous improvement, right? You're going to debrief with your team. You're going to analyze what worked, what could be improved, and then you're going to use those insights to make your next 30 days even better.
So it's not just like okay, you did it, you're done.
No, no.
It's like, how can you keep getting better?
Yeah. Continuous growth mindset.
Yeah.
And that's so vital in today's, fast-paced auto market. So we've kind of touched on the 5 phases, but I'd like to really dig into some of the daily actions that are outlined in the roadmap.
Yes, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What does each day actually look like?
Yeah, like the specific steps, because that's really where the rubber meets the road. So like day 1, you're going to dive deep into those OEM incentives using the templates provided to map everything out really clearly.
So you're not scrambling last minute. Okay, what about day 2?
So day 2, you're going to be segmenting your audience using worksheets and example personas to really pinpoint those most promising customer groups.
Efficiency.
Exactly.
That's what I'm seeing here.
And then, day 3, like we mentioned before, crafting that YouTube ad script.
Okay.
Again, the program encourages you to use those AI tools.
Gotcha. So even if you're not, an expert copywriter.
Right.
Okay, so what about some examples from later in the program? What are some of the key daily actions?
Yeah, so one that really comes to mind is day 10 through 12. The focus there is on leveraging LinkedIn for personalized outreach.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you're going to be connecting with leads, sending tailored messages, building those relationships.
So it's not just posting generic stuff on social media.
No. It's really taking that social media game to a whole nother level.
Yeah, I like it. What about another example?
Okay, so then day 22, there's an emphasis on identifying and automating tasks to really streamline your operations.
Oh, the beauty of automation.
Yes, like having an extra set of hands.
Totally. So you can focus on what really matters.
Exactly. And the program helps you, figure out which tasks to automate and which tools are best suited for the job.
Okay. Now, I saw in here it said something about incentive mapping templates.
Yeah. So those templates, those are designed to help you navigate the often complex world of OEM incentives.
Okay.
Right. So they provide a clear visual way to track all those, different incentives and understand them. And then of course you can present them to your customers effectively.
So it's not just about knowing the incentives, but how do you explain them to the customer?
Exactly.
In a way that makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to those final days, that month-end blitz. What's an example of a daily action there?
Oh, so day 30 or day 31, if it's a longer month.
Okay.
That's all about personal follow-up. You're reaching out to every remaining lead, making that final effort to convert them into happy customers.
Like that final push to the finish line.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's clear that this whole program is built on a foundation of consistent action.
Absolutely. It's not about luck. It's about a system designed to drive those consistent results.
Okay. Now, one thing that keeps coming up that I want to dig into a little bit more is this whole treasure map analogy.
Yeah.
Such a good way to kind of frame this.
Right. Because it's practical and it's also metaphorical. So it highlights that step-by-step nature of the program. But then it also kind of emphasizes those rewards that are waiting.
So talk about the metaphor. Break that down for me a little bit more.
Okay, so imagine a pirate searching for buried treasure. He has a map that guides him through treacherous terrain, helping him avoid the pitfalls and ultimately leading him to that prize.
So in this case, the treasure is those sales results.
Yes.
And the map is the program.
Exactly.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So it's the program gives you the guidance, the direction you need to navigate this world of car sales.
Exactly. The auto market is constantly evolving and this program it's like your compass. It helps you stay ahead of the curve and discover all those hidden opportunities.
Okay, that's a brilliant way to put it. But you know what? Let's not get too lost in the metaphors.
Okay.
Let's bring it back down to earth. Let's talk about okay, so how do dealerships actually implement this? How do they actually, start seeing these results?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get practical.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, so you're a dealership and you're ready to embark on this 30-day journey, right? What advice would you give them to make the most of it?
I think the key is commitment.
Yeah.
You really got to follow through. You can't just, press a magic button.
Right.
You got to put in the work.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's active participation from the entire team, right?
Yeah.
It's not just, one person trying to do it all.
Yeah, totally. So getting everyone on board and like, aligned with the program's goals. But I'm curious about the flexibility aspect. You mentioned that earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like, how does this program, like, adapt to each dealership's kind of unique needs? Because every dealership is different.
Right. You have your strengths and weaknesses,
Yeah.
your market conditions, your specific customer base. So the program, it provides a framework, but it's designed to be customized.
So it's not like a one-size-fits-all.
No.
It's like a set of principles and strategies, then you kind of like tailor it.
Exactly. So the program, it offers guidance, suggestions, but it also empowers you to make those decisions, that are best for your dealership.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like that. So it's not about rigid rules.
Yeah.
It's about like, okay, what's best for you?
Exactly. And it encourages you to think critically,
Yeah.
and adapt those strategies to fit your specific circumstances.
It sounds like this program like goes beyond just telling you what to do. It's like teaching you how to like think strategically about your sales process.
Absolutely, yeah. It's about developing that deeper understanding, of your market, your customers, your own strengths.
And speaking of strengths, this program really seems to emphasize, YouTube, social media, LinkedIn in particular. Why is that so important now in today's, automotive world?
Well, we can't ignore the fact that, today's car buyer is doing their research online. They're watching videos, they're reading reviews, they're, comparing prices, all before they even step foot in a dealership.
So it's not enough to just have a website anymore.
Right.
You got to be where the customers are, and they're online.
They're online. And this program helps you like leverage those online platforms effectively. It guides you through creating those compelling YouTube ads, targeting the right audience, even using video to capture those last minute buyers who are, in your area.
So you're not just like casting a wide net.
Yeah.
You're really like getting specific.
That's right. And it's not just about, the ads themselves. It's also about the message.
Right.
So the program, it emphasizes, crafting content that really resonates, content that speaks to their needs and desires.
So it's like understanding what makes your dealership unique, what value you bring to the table.
Exactly.
And then communicating that like through these channels.
Through video, through social media. And when it comes to, LinkedIn, it's about that personal touch. This program encourages your sales team to reach out directly to those leads, sending personalized messages that really show like, hey, we understand you. We've taken the time.
Yeah, it's not just like a generic,
Right.
sales pitch anymore. It's like
Right.
actually building that relationship.
Absolutely. And that's where those, customer testimonials come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sharing those real stories from satisfied customers, it adds a level of authenticity and credibility that no marketing campaign can replicate.
Testimonials are like gold.
They are.
They really build that trust.
Yeah, they give those potential customers, the reassurance they need to make a decision.
Totally. So this program, it actually like tells you how to get those.
It does. It provides specific guidance on, whether it's through video, written reviews, even just encouraging your customers to share their experience on social media.
So it's like you're creating a system where that positive feedback is like just a natural part of what happens. It's like this program seems to have an answer for everything.
It's remarkably thorough, yeah.
Like it's like you have a toolbox and it's got every single tool you need.
It does. And remember, it's not static. It's designed to evolve, that epilogue phase we talked about.
Yeah.
It's about continuous improvement, taking those lessons learned and applying them to make your next 30 days even better.
Yeah, that growth mindset.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, with all this focus on, digital and online strategies, does it still address like the traditional stuff?
Yeah.
Like in-person events?
Absolutely. Because it recognizes that those face-to-face interactions are still crucial.
Right.
Especially when it comes to building that trust and closing deals.
So it's like finding the right balance.
Exactly, yeah. The program, it encourages dealerships to think, holistically. So blending those online and offline strategies seamlessly. Like, for example, those month-end blitz events, those can be, virtual or in person, depending on what, works best for you and your market.
Okay. It's about adapting.
It is.
Okay, so always keeping the customer like at the center.
At the center, yeah.
Okay. Now, before we kind of like wrap things up, I want to go back to those daily actions in the roadmap.
Okay, yeah.
Because we've talked about them a little bit, but like give me an example of one that you think really highlights how practical this program is.
So one that really stands out to me is day 25,
Okay.
where you're tasked with creating a Why Buy From Us video. And this isn't your typical, car commercial. It's about showcasing your dealership's, unique personality, values, commitment to customer satisfaction.
Yeah, it's about what makes you different.
Exactly. Going beyond just the cars themselves and really highlighting that human element, right?
Yeah.
That builds the trust, builds the loyalty.
And you can use that video everywhere.
Everywhere. It becomes a valuable asset.
Okay, I see how all these daily actions are they're all working together.
They are.
It's not just random tasks. It's a plan.
It's a carefully crafted plan.
So to kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive, what would you say is the key takeaway for our listeners when it comes to understanding these daily actions?
I would say the most important thing to remember is that they're designed to work together,
Yeah.
synergistically.
Okay.
Each step builds upon the previous one, creating that momentum, driving you towards those sales goals.
It's like a dance almost.
It is a carefully choreographed dance.
Okay, so we've explored the phases. We've delved into the daily actions. We've talked about that treasure map analogy.
Right.
But now, let's get practical.
Okay.
A dealership's listening, and they're ready to do this. What's your top advice?
It's all about commitment and follow through. This roadmap, it's powerful, but it's not a magic bullet, right?
Yeah.
You need to be ready to roll up your sleeves and put in the work.
You gotta be active.
Yeah, active participation. And it's not just about one person doing it all. It's a team effort.
Yeah, so get everyone on board.
Absolutely. And remember, the program provides a framework. It's also designed to be flexible.
Oh, that's interesting. So how so?
Well, every dealership is different, right?
Yeah.
You have your own strengths, weaknesses, market conditions.
Right.
So it's crucial to adapt the program to fit your specific needs and goals.
So it's not one size fits all.
No. It's more like a set of principles and strategies that you can customize.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and the program encourages you to do that. It provides guidance and suggestions, but it also empowers you to make those decisions that are best for you.
It's about empowerment. Okay, I like that. So as we wrap up our deep dive on the 30 Days to Sell Cars program, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
If I had to distill it down to one thing,
Yeah.
it would be this. The 30 Days to Sell Cars program is a proven roadmap to success, but it's not a passive journey.
Okay,
It requires commitment,
got it.
teamwork, and willingness to adapt.
To evolve.
Yeah.
And for those dealerships that are ready to, embrace that, the rewards are there.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive. But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Okay, I like it. I'm
Yeah.
intrigued.
Okay, so the program, it gives you that framework for driving sales, in the short term. But how can dealerships take those lessons and apply them to create sustainable growth, long-term growth?
That's a great question, and one that I encourage every dealership to really consider carefully. It's not just about having a great month.
Right.
It's about building a thriving business.
Exactly. And for everyone listening, if you're ready to start your own 30-day journey, check out the show notes. We've got links to all the resources we mentioned.
And remember, the treasure's out there. You just need the right map.
Until next time, happy selling